In our text today, we come across Jesus teaching in the synagogues on the Sabbath. And a woman appears who has been crippled for 18 years due to an unclean spirit. She has been bent over, she's been broken, she has been hurting and in pain. Now, a woman in that type of stature would also be abandoned by society. She would have been considered unclean. She would have been considered unwanted. And honestly, they would have been afraid of her. And so what Jesus does on the Sabbath is he cures her. He cures her. He raises her up and he cures her. And then he gets yelled at for it. He gets reprimanded for curing somebody because it's on the Sabbath. And in the Sabbath, these people in the synagogue want Jesus to behave in the manner of which they want Jesus to behave, by abiding by certain rules and regulations which have been set up by them. And Jesus reprimands them in a loving but firm way. And he shows them how their actions are often hypocritical, how they free their animals so the animals may drink on the Sabbath, and how yet they don't want him to free this woman of her issues and of her problems. So this text is often used by people to say, oh, well, we don't have to keep holy the Sabbath. But I tend to disagree. I think that this text calls us specifically to keep holy the Sabbath in the way that God, Jesus, wants us to keep holy the Sabbath. And this is what the Sabbath is made for. The Sabbath is made for us to be in right relationship with God, and for us to be in right relationship with others. Jesus frees this woman so that the crowd may embrace her as their own again, so they need not fear her anymore, that she can now take her place in the community as a whole and worship God on Saturday at the time actually, but worship God on the Sabbath. God frees this woman to take her place in community to do exactly what she's called to do: worship God with the rest of the crowd, with the rest of the body, with the rest of the people worshiping. This doesn't give us a carte blanche just to do whatever we want on the Sabbath. It gives us, it empowers us to realize that we are called to embrace people from all walks of life into the community of the faithful to praise and worship God. And it empowers us to put down our issues and problems and hurts and anguish and woe and take ourselves into the community of the faithful to worship God. We have a Sabbath to worship God, to give God God's due, and to also do it within the community of the faithful. That's how one keeps the Sabbath. God bless.